Greetings and salutations, and we're back with Ashes of Creation, which received what I would say is a rather substantial update in the alpha. Obviously, there's a new graphics screen before you start, and there's now the different realm select. I did make a character on Shoal. They did do a character wipe. They do not have the summoner yet, and I'm still rather upset about that. And I made a Shinshank. I haven't played him yet, but um, they've added the Nakua because they didn't have them. They used to have the Dunir. They did not have the Nakua. They added them. They didn't have the Pyrai. They are now in the game as well. They had the Kalar, they had the Valoon, and they had the Vec. So they've added the Pyrai and the Nakua. And the one I made, Shinshank, is a Nakua Rogue. But if you could choose your starting region, which was used to be the Divine Gateway of the Ayla, they now have the Divine Gateway of Dunzenkel. So this is going to be a brand new starting area on the other guy because that's where I set him up. And when you do that, you now have backgrounds. And I'll move my head out of the way here, as you can see. And they even come with a little backstory. It's like Rhythm and Traveling Nakua Festival Bands, where you beat every honored memory and return. Where you every beat honored memory and return. You need to learn to stir hearts, summon old songs, so on and so forth. Storyteller, Firewood. Now, I don't know how these alter the actual game itself. I don't know how they alter your character. I have no clue. As for the archetype, like I said, they have not added the summoner. They have Ranger, Fighter, Cleric, Bard, Mage, Rogue, and Tank still. I'm still waiting for the summoner update. I'm going to go back and I'm going to do Shinshank, who is playing in, or who is in the new area, the Dunzenkel. We're going to check that place out, because I have yet to see it. And I made it so that his backstory was he was a traveling something or other for merchants. So, like I said, I don't know how it's going to change anything. If it changes anything, my encoding is overloaded. So if it slows down, there's a reason why. Because it's compiling shaders and eating pretty much every spare memory resource it can. But I don't change things. So when I launch OBS, I leave it as is. And yes, it's going to be kind of clunky until this all resolves. However, I'm looking forward to how this game is progressing. Like the new background thing, never seen that before. And I don't mean the one before the login screen. I'm talking the background for the characters. I don't remember that one either. So that's new. I'm still upset about there's not being a summoner. That is the one class I've not played yet that I really want to. But as it goes, Rogue is my first preferred choice.
Portals got you, Niquin homeland, believe it or not.
Niquin.
World,
okay, so
these
okay. We need... Oh, and it gives you the quest. Optional. Destroy faulty grablins. Neat. Dunzenkel, Divine Gate, Ember Spring. Halls of Doomfall. Oh, so we're still inside the cave. Where's the things I have to destroy? Okay, so this is like inside of an actual... Look at that. This is like inside an actual mountain. That's neat. They must be over here. Yep, there they are. Alright. Faulty grablings. That's kind of cool. Oh, they're mechanical. That's cool. Oh, they changed the attack button from Q to E. That's not good. I do not like that change. Let me change that back. Let's see here. Game options. Yeah, nope, not gameplay. Key bindings. Movement. Not. There we go. And we'll put swap weapons to E. I always preferred it as Q over E. It just seemed like better. It seemed just easier to work with. Ooh, he's got a shield of some description. That's interesting. That's really cool. I like these little faulty grablings. It's a really interesting juxtaposition from like, oh, you were killing goblins in the other area, and now you've got mechanical things that you have to worry about. Oh, and that just showed how it worked too. It said those that deal the most damage get the primordial, or they get the primarily loot, so to speak. So they actually inform you how looting works. I'm gonna clean it again. It says I can, so I'm gonna do it again. Nice.
Reward?
Wow, didn't even give me a reward. What a cheapskate. Okay, so they changed some stuff. Lacerate, Acrobatic Strike, Feint, Flurry, Kick, Throw, Sap. Sleep Dart. Alright, that's interesting. A simple compound. If throw hits two or more targets, final target is afflicted with unsimple compound. Backstabbing, weapon, combo finishing, or killing this target will cause an explosion that deals fire damage and apply burning for the same amount. I like that. Throw base damage is increased by 25%, can now bounce up to 3 additional targets. Alright. Things used within melee target will flip away from them. Backstab resets the cooldown of Feint. I like Acrobatic Strike because you can always leap over them and then you get the free backstab because it roots them in place. So that's always beneficial. Regains 5 stamina when dodging. Dodging is Z. Alright, we'll try dodging. We'll try the dodge. I'm not good at that because it's all over the place, but we'll try. I mean, again, I'm liking the look and feel of this whole area. It's just, I don't know, it just feels very different from the other place, right? Which obviously it should, but it feels completely different in another way completely. This is something you would expect of like a dwarven district, right? You know, if you have ever, I've never really played Dungeons and Dragons, but for those that have, and for those that are aware of Dungeons and Dragons, there's new bag. Oh, okay. So I got a lumberjacking axe. So instead of just, what was this? Crude mining pickaxe. Oh, okay. So now this place just gives you your materials instead of having you go find them. Like, Instead of, oh, we're going to give you the herbalism sickle if you complete this. If you go complete this quest, you get this profession item, like the other place did. But this has the same look and feel as what you would expect from, you know, your typical Dungeons and Dragons adventure, right? You have this, how do I want to put this? Disheveled society of old dwarven artifacts, and they're surrounded by faulty mechanical things. Very, it's got the right ambiance. It's got the right environment. You know, it feels like you're part of this bigger thing that existed. Of you're part of this dwarven empire or this technologically advanced society that has fallen to the wayside, and there's a reason why. It's got the right what's the word I'm looking for? It sets the right mood. Right? It gives you that feeling of, ah, yes, I am this traveler being part of a bigger thing. And now that you are part of said thing, it just gives you, I guess, the feeling of being insignificant in a bigger picture. Oh, you don't have to hold F, you just press it. Nice. Ooh, dull glint. So they're just giving you money, essentially. But I like that feeling of being that insignificant traveler in a bigger world, right? Instead of being, ah, yes, you are born as the hero of the day, you're kind of like in a juxtaposition of WoW, right? Whereas WoW made you out to be like the isekai protagonist, this is just like, nah, we're going to teleport you to the other world, and while you're there, you got to figure it out, my friend. Which is kind of cool. I mean, it's got a better artisan storage reward. Choose an item. Gifted lumberjacking satchel, herbalism, mining satchel. I want to do mining, so sure. What dwarf doesn't want to do mining? What dwarf worth his weight in ore wouldn't want to be down in the mines? With his hands all filthy, filled with the soot and the earth, the dirt. Every dwarf wants to be doing that. I don't know why I made dwarves all of a sudden into Irish, but there you go.
We found if you find yourself.
I guess it's because the dwarves like a drink. And so do the Irish. Those people out there that are like, oh, that's not right. You shouldn't say that. Look, I'm part Irish, part Scottish, I'm part Welsh, I'm part English, I'm part Dutch, I'm part Native American. I am literally the Heinz 57 mix. So I once made the joke that due to the Irish being used to build the railroads here, one half of my family lineage paid the Irish half of my family lineage in potatoes, and I don't know if I'm appeased or offended. So I made the joke. And people were like, "Wait a minute, look, I'm Irish. What do you want, right?" Rash. Physical damage to your target. This ability can be achieved. Listen to me. Activated up to 2 more times in a short time. For increasing damage, however, you must activate another ability before you can be recast. I'll go with Flurry. I mean, I kind of want to try the whole unstable compound. So maybe I'll go with Throw. Yeah, or Throw. Let's throw some stuff. I'm gonna switch those two. I like stealth at 4. That's cool. Shows you advantage in stealth in bigger numbers now. Wow. Alright, there's a bigger world map. A little bit bigger. Defeat Ramkin along your way to the settlement at Bonfire. Where's Bonfire? Ember Spring, the Dunbreak Flow. So that's Horns of the Enemy, defeat Ramkin. There he is. So he's off to the right. Okay. I do like that they've made the numbers bigger up here so that you could see them. And that advantage says your certain attacks gain a buff to get powerful effects. I like that. That is something that... And I also like the fact that you could stealth well in stealth. Sounds rather suspicious, but... I mean, let's be real here. I mean... Is that something up top that's making the... Did I just decline the... I just declined the reward, and it was a ring. I did not want to decline that reward. I wanted it, but I clicked wrong. Oh well. Such is life. Alright, that's kind of interesting. Because I wanted to see where that lighting change was coming from. Is that from up above? Oh, okay. So the lighting changes when you cross over into the Dunbreak Flow. Okay. I don't know why, but it does. Moonnut Leatherfoot.
Do you hear that? The ancient heart there is a task while we cannot
Reach from the silent heartwood tree. Search the caves for explorers. Ooh, now attuned to the Dunbreak Flow. Yeah, that one's on evade. Like a permanent evade. It's an alpha. It happens. The dodge didn't work. I dodged, but they were like, nope, no you didn't. And I'm like, okay. Ramkin Heretic. Oh, that didn't help. Ramkin Outcast. And his name, he's in here. The named guy is. Good thing they're not aggro. Ooh. Could you imagine if this whole place was aggro? I just looted it and says I don't have permission to do this action. Find the next Lost Explorer. Defeat Ramkin along your... Oh, you have to just... Okay, so I thought Ramkin was like a named mob. I'm a fool. Well, there's all the wood pieces I need. I can also sit down and get health back. While I'm doing that, let's see. Finisher and deadly finisher damage is increased by percentage. Yeah, we'll do that. Double bullseye. Ooh, that's cool. So there's new abilities. My friend, you are being slaughtered. Why does this thing have business with me? What did I do? Observed and cannot use stuff. Observed by what? That's the one thing. Like, how far does an observer go? How far does observing go? Number one. Yeah, don't worry about me, buddy. I know what I'm doing. This ain't my first rodeo. I guess that ain't my first rodeo. Though it's really interesting how, like, there's a whole host of stuff saying, oh hey, the tutorials are great because it pops up over here on the left, right? and it tells you about corrupt players and PvP and how it works, which is great if for the new player that's eventually going to get into the game. Which I have to admit, I sat there thinking about it, and they were talking that this is going to have a monthly fee when it comes out, and I was like, yeah, okay, I could see that. Server maintenance and everything, I can understand it having a monthly fee. And then they were talking about how the game is quite literally going to be no cost when you get it. So if you want to go and just pick up the game, it's no cost to you. They're not going to charge, from what I've heard, they're not going to charge for a game purchase, which is great. It's perfect. Because then it's like, if you honestly think about it, right? Where's this Lost Explorer? Is he up here on the rocks or something? Because if you think about it, right? How many games have... Don't get stuck. How many games have you gone out and realistically, like, invested in thinking, yes, I'm going to pick up this game because it looks really cool, and then only to find out you just spent a whole bunch of money, and for what? Because the game's not really cool. When you say something like, this game's not going to have an initial purchase cost, but it'll have a monthly fee, it's like, so wait a minute. What you're telling me is I can get a game for no cost to me. There's probably a trial period, like 5 day, 1 week, what have you. I thought, well, at least it shows you what you're observed by. See? It's showing me who I'm observed by. Yeah, that's the person that's observing me. But it's just an interesting... Examine the item I found on the corpse. What item? Gotta be a quest there. Okay. Alright, so that's the end of the cave. But if you think about it, that's a smarter way to do it. If you offer your game for no initial purchase cost, you give them like a 5 day trial or a 2 day trial or what have you, something to get them in there, get their feet wet, get them to get what the game looks and feels like, and then say, oh yeah, the game's $15 a month if you really want to keep playing. People, like I said, people have this idea of they're more apt to pop 10 to 15 a month, and they're more apt to to pop 10 to 15 every so often than they are to spend, Okay, so the fog effects cause a little bit of flickering in here. Again, alpha, it's understandable. The lighting is very moody. It's got a nice mood and immersion to it. I like that. But it causes some flickering issues. I'm sure that could be fixed, and I know other people are probably going to report it. But I mean, I like the idea of doing the whole no initial purchase. At least, again, that's what they've said. It was on their website. Don't know if it's going to change when they launch. But how exactly did you see me? Because you didn't. Exactly. Okay, you saw me. How so? Why are they aggressive now when they weren't aggressive before? Oh well. Boy, he really is aggressive. Look at that aggro radius. Wow, that's a lot of Ramkin. Well, like, like I was saying before I got sidetracked twice. I think people are more apt to purchase something, $10 to $15. Really? But I didn't do anything. They're more apt to spend a couple dollars here and there, 15 here and there, to play a game that's really fun and that costs nothing to get into, more so than buying a game that costs, nowadays $100, $110, especially if it comes from a quadruple A developer. Looking at you, Ubisoft, with your Black Flag or whatever it was. It was some game they launched to claim it wasn't Black Flag. What was it? Skull and Bones? Skull and Crossbones or something like that? Okay, so you can't make it through there. How do you make it past then? You probably don't even go this way. You probably have to go through the Ramkin Cave and then go up and around. Devious little schemers. Anyhow. You know what I'm talking about. Like the whole Skull and Crossbones or whatever it was. It was a pirate game. They said it was a quadruple A game. They were charging a lot for it. GTA 6 is going to pull the same thing. They're going to say, oh, well, it took us a long time to develop it and a long time to make all these assets. And it's like, okay. But it's legitimately just GTA 3 reskinned. It's no different. And, you'll have a ton of people say, well, it is different because it's GTA 6. Well, okay, but it's not, though. It's like, let's put our thinking caps on. Is it a 3D, is it a 3D game? 3D Grand Theft Auto game? Yes. Does the 3D Grand Theft Auto game allow you to have almost an open sandbox? Yes. Does this same 3D game allow you... I mean, you could go on, but you see what I'm getting at. It quite literally is the same. It's kind of the same energy, right? The only time you had a game that was different in GTA was GTA 2 or GTA 1 because it was top down. Once you got GTA 3, it became pretty much identical. 3, 4, Vice City, San Andreas. Wow, that was some lag. Wow, some serious lag. Oh, I'm totally dead. That was some hefty, hefty lag. Kind of weird. probably end up being DC'd. There it is. But no, it's like I was saying, it truly becomes, like GTA 3 is no different than GTA San Andreas, Vice City. It's all the same. It's sandbox. There's missions. You can do pretty much anything you want. And in some of the later GTAs, you could hide behind the vehicles as a cover mechanic. Identical. Literally identical. They just update the graphics, make a new plot line with a new main character. Is it worth 110 for that? No. Now, the online thing where you can play online with other people, yeah, that was new. And then people took a role-playing aspect to it and made it, like, again, character created, player created, went off and made a secondary thing. And it went wonderful. But that was by no intentions that was not the developer's intentions. They didn't sit there and go, aha, that's right, we're going to make a role-playing aspect of it when people get online. That's it. No, they were expecting everybody who's going to get online, you were going to get on with your friends, and you were going to be, being ne'er-do-wells going around doing whatever you do in Grand Theft Auto, bootlegging cars, taking them and getting them sold, whatever to make money. Doing, I guess, co-op missions if there are any. I don't know. I never played it online. But some players took it and went even further. And that right there is what I'm talking about. When you have your consumers expanding your game in ways you never thought possible, that's where the creativity lies. But when you have, comparatively, the people making GTA 6, which I know they're going to slap a massive price tag on it because they know they can get the money. They'll just say, oh, well, we did this. It's like with RDR2, which was nothing more than Grand Theft Horse 2, the saddling. Red Dead Redemption was just Grand Theft Horse. Rockstar only knows how to make one thing. It's Grand Theft Autos. And then they just reskin it. That's honestly it. Like, if Rockstar went and made a samurai-based game, it would probably be like Grand Theft Katana. And except they would make you part of a prestigious ninja clan that has to undo the local shogunate. Some sort of plot line. Anyway, that's all they know how to do, is make open area sandbox games with similar mechanics. And because they invest heavily into the overproduction of the game, such as minute details on the horses in RDR, which, don't get me wrong, I enjoy it when people do minute details, but there's a point where those minute details are irrelevant, and the money spent on that would have been better spent as saving it and then making it ever so slightly cheaper so that more people can afford it and you can have more players and then more feedback. See, a lot of things companies don't understand is less is more. Take a look at Silksong, for example. Took them well over a decade. Now, again, I've never played Hollow Knight, and I've never played Silksong. Right? You take a look at them. Took them well over a decade, and they went, $20. Now look at how well it's selling. That right there just shows it. You don't have to put a $60, $50, $40 price tag on a game. If you can make a game, and the enjoyment of the game is, say, 50 hours long, you could say $30 for it, $40 for it. And people will pop. They'll be like, yeah, 50-hour quest, 50-hour main quest, and then hundreds of hours of replay value. Sure, they'll throw $40 at it. But you got companies today that are like, so we've made a game. In this game, we've put in 12 hours of actual game time that's not multiplayer. So 12 hours of actual core game time, but with endless multiplayer value, if they like it. $80. I'm sorry, why? If you're playing the game for the story, then you're getting hoaxed. If you're playing the game for the multiplayer, you'll get endless value out of it. Great. Wonderful. And so this is why I find things like this refreshing. You have a whole bunch of devs that used to be game devs, I'm sure, for other countries. Not countries. Other companies. They came here and they were like, you know what? We're going to make this game and we're going to do it this way. Because this is what we wanted to do with the other games that we made, but we were restricted by a whole bunch of suits sitting over there in a corporate cubicle, harumphing over how best to run the game. There's a shift coming. When that shift happens, what it's going to be is it's going to be the old companies, Activision, Blizzard, DICE, Neversoft, Ubisoft, EA, Rockstar. These companies are going to continue doing what they've been doing over the past 5 years, expecting it to work, and it's not going to, and people are going to walk away. Meanwhile, indie titles like this, with small companies and smaller groups that aren't publicly traded, that are a privately held business, are going to turn profit and turn revenue because they are going to be able to go out and produce a work that they're passionate about. They'll produce it, and then they'll listen to the feedback. When they listen to the feedback of the players, and they listen to the majority of the players, not just a very vocal minority of players, which is where they went wrong in the first place, then you'll have success. I personally find nothing wrong with this game. Like, they say, oh, the game gets really difficult and the difficulty curve's too high. That's fine. The game does need to be difficult. It should encourage you to play with other people. You know, lag issues that we had there, it's an alpha. What do you expect? It's gonna have that. The flickering of the lights, it's gonna have that. It's an alpha. You're gonna have technical issues well in this testing phase. But it's also in this testing phase that you have to iron out those kinks. Because when the game launches, if you have a lot of bugs when it launches, people are going to be upset. You know, why wasn't this caught? And at the end, when you look at it from the other perspective, let's say your sample size is 100 players, and those 100 players get into this mindset of min-maxing, which is another plague that I'll talk about in a whole different time. Those 100 players get into this mindset of min-maxing, so they're not testing everything. They're testing what's most efficient. No bugs in the most efficient, right? There's no bugs here because this has been tested to death by all the players, right? So this has all been tested completely to death. But this out here, when nobody's playing, where people like me look at it and go, what if? And you go out and do it. And it blows up in your face spectacularly with, you know, like a mad scientist. And you just walk away with your hair all smoking and frizzed out. And you're just like, that was fun. Let's do it again. And it's a bug. And then the company's like, wait a minute, there's a bug here. Because one person sees it, and then another person attempts it, and then so on and so forth. So getting a larger sample size, doing oddball things, helps the company go, we missed something. And a lot of people don't understand that. You know, they're still finding bugs in modern games where you have tens of thousands of players. And they're like, well, how did they not see that bug? How do they not see that interaction? How many people are doing it? How many people are playing that offbeat that they found it? You have to, one person has to find it, and then they expose it. When they expose it, everyone tries it. Especially if it's effective. And then when everyone tries it, it then gets brought to the attention of the company, and it gets nerfed. Or fixed. It's just the flow of things. But I'm still enjoying it. I do like the new area. I think that the new area's environment is very apropos. Now, I wonder if they're going to specifically limit it to the Dunir and the one that I made here that I can't remember the name of. The Nakua. I wonder if they're going to keep it to the Dunir and the Nakua, which would make sense. Or the Nikwa, as they call them. The Nikwa and the Dunir. Dunir. I don't know. They've got a weird emphasis on the wrong syllable there. I think that would be cool if they get their own little starting area that's the mountain. And then, of course, you have the Kalar and the Empyrean that have their own specific areas. The Pyri would obviously get... Maybe it's the Valoon. No, yeah, the Valoon and the Kalar have their own specific areas. Pyri and the Empyrean would have theirs, and then Vec. I think there's one other race they're going to be bringing out. But anyhow, it would be interesting to see if there was 4 different starting areas for like the 8 different races. And I hope it gets to that point. Maybe that's their plan. I don't know. But I hope you enjoyed this look into the new area. And I hope you enjoy the game. I hope you really look at Ashes of Creation as something that might be worthwhile. Check out their website. Because, again, I'm pretty sure it said there that there's going to be no initial purchase cost on their game. Pretty sure they said that. And I like it. I'm still waiting for the Summoner. And once the Summoner comes out, I'm going to do like a class kind of like look and feel, or what's it like when I first start playing it. And after the Summoner comes out, I'm going to start playing it heavier. Not to the degree that I burn out on it, but I am going to invest more time on it. And I'm going to put a little bit of that time on the actual channel, and I'm going to do a lot of it off camera. I was waiting, because I knew they were going to do the character reset in the beginning of September. And I thought, okay, they're going to do the character reset. I'll just wait for that. And then I thought Summoner's going to be with it, but it wasn't. So I'm still waiting for the Summoner. When that comes out, I'll do another video, and then I'll really hit the books, so to speak. I love rogues. I think they're going to be the most fun. But I want to know how the dual class works. So once Summoner comes out, because I kind of want to do Rogue with Summoner, and maybe cover some of the Rogue's weaknesses. We'll see. But I hope you enjoyed this video, because I did. Because I know I did. I hope everybody has a fantastic evening, a wonderful tomorrow, and as always, have a good one.